All
So,
right,
good
we
afternoon.
are back. Yes, we are back with Arto Fama, and I think it's very important for us to get off our chairs and be a little active, because our next guest is going to be quite active in his class as well. At least that's how you look, Arto. Yes, you will provide.
We just lost audio. Can you still hear me? My lip reading skills are pretty bad.
Yes, so Martijn is gone with this connection, so I will take it over from here.
Perfect.
I will introduce our next guest, Arto Fama, who will do the fundamentals of HEMA. And take it away.
Thanks very much, Jeroen. I'm really glad to meet up in this way so we can actually have a conversation and although it's a bit different. I would have loved for this to be in person, and actually the Winterkamp was the last live event I managed to do a year ago. So hopefully next year we can actually see each other again there. For now, I'll do this digital version and workshop. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Arto. I've been practicing HEMA for well over 15 years now. Just see if I can actually see my screen as well. Not as much. Great. All right. Really glad you could join us. Today will indeed be a fundamentals class with preferably a sword in hand. I already read in the comments that someone said, no break, this is going to be lunch break. If you want to grab a plate of lunch and have that, that's perfectly fine. I'll be talking you through the exercises. You can join me and do them with me, or just enjoy the theoretics behind it. A little bit of introduction about the actual concept and goal of the workshop. I was asked to do something with fundamentals, and that is always a bit difficult to say because many of the German sources, especially the early German longsword sources that we study, speak very much about why you should move and what you should get with it. It doesn't very specifically say how to move. So fundamentals are always going to be interpretation, partially biomechanical because our body only works in certain ways, and partially if we want to reach a certain goal and adhere to the texts that are in the actual longsword manuals, then we need to figure out a way to get there without getting injured and with a certain amount of success. So what I'm going to do today is present to you my approach on how to move, and specifically how to break it down to a very few simple concepts. Simple, not particularly easy to do. So please struggle with it, make mistakes, because if you get it at once, then there's nothing left to learn. I would like you to join me and figure out with me how you move in particular. I'll try to basically ask you questions in the form of exercises, and then if you have questions in the comments, then later on we can actually address those. Speaking about fundamentals, the way to make strikes and thrusts, I think, is to fight with the entire body, as it says in the Vorgereed in Ringek and Von Danzig manuals. The ability to do so, to fight with the entire body, does require a tremendous amount of coordination between different muscle groups. So being able to use those in isolated exercises might help you perform the moves you want to do in a specific context or trying to reach a specific goal. For me specifically, I try to keep two goals in mind with every single move, which is goal number one, reach safety as soon as possible, because this will definitely improve my situation. Goal number two, try to create a threat. Well, preferably in this particular order, because if I manage to create a threat, but I'm not safe, then how much did I really achieve with that particular move? I want to make sure that every single structure, every single action I do works towards the goal of being safer than before and my opponent being more threatened than before. So in order to train these particular actions, I've tried to break them down, working in the Hengen and the strikes, to arm extension and upper body rotation. So I'll be using those words a lot throughout the next particular part of the workshop. For now, please join me. Hold up your sword with palms facing up to the sky. If you can grab anything else, that's perfectly fine. Hold it up and then row it back towards your upper body. Try to bring the elbows alongside the upper body all the way back. If you've ever done a workshop, then you've probably heard me say before, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Basically, punch out your chest, go for this depicted 15th century, almost chicken-like breast. That is moving forward, relaxing your shoulders as much as possible. In this position, the blade extended to the side shows you how much you are rotating, providing some feedback if you're training, for instance, like now, alone, solo, at home. If you would step forward with one foot, then you can bend your knees, remain in an upright position, rotate the upper body until you have a 45-degree angle with sternum or belly button towards one side. You can now check the sword to see if it's in line with both feet and if it's actually pointing out to the side. The other side, similarly, if one foot is leading, then the entire body can be in a 45-degree. Try to maintain vision towards the camera or whatever point you're using as a point of reference to train towards in order to figure out this rotation. Then once you know that this is the 45-degree angle, so from a sideways view, over here, try to get there with a little bit more speed. Bend your knees, tighten your core, invest in basic tension, and then from there, step backwards into this position. Relax, stand forward, step backwards with the other foot, directly into this position. Want to get familiar with this particular angle, this particular amount of rotation, rather than the one you end up in because you are making a strike. I think it's a valuable skill to be able to hold this position with the elbows, hold the shoulders, stand upright, and then drop into the 45-degree angle as soon as possible. So in order to gain some consistency, just run along, step backwards, move to your right side, and forwards again. And try to stay low, keep your knees bent, step back with the left foot, go for that 45-degree angle. Check if the blade is actually pointing with one to the right side, the other to the left, roughly in line with the feet. And back to parallel again. Step backwards, check, forwards, the other side, backwards, and forwards. Same can be done stepping forwards. So if you start off in a neutral position, with your feet parallel, step forwards, achieve this 45-degree angle, and maintain upright. Continue to the side, and back again. All right, relax. If you need to, relax your shoulders a bit, loosen up. Having the capability to keep your shoulders backwards, the arms nicely suspended from the elbow, and then move to this 45-degree angle allows you to go to that particular side with, like I said previously, a high grade of consistency, allowing you to not focus as much on regaining your balance after a particular action. Every once in a while, I see someone making a strike or thrust that is so enthusiastic, I would say, so devoted that it takes them off balance. This can be done, but it takes recovery time. If we limit that, we keep our options open. So if this rotation keeps us safe and allows us to create a threat, it is very functional. And if we're able to do that similarly every single time, we don't have to think about it. All we need to do is follow the script that is ingrained in our system. So the next part that I would like you to see isolated is the rowing of the arms. In the most simple form, if you hold your blade with the cross guard aligned with your leading forearm, then you can create a triangle from elbows to grip. That is a strong structure. You can place it between you and the opponent's blade. No matter where you go, as in no matter where you rotate, you always have the ability to pull your elbows back alongside the upper body and extend them outwards again. There again, if you're able to do this consistently with an upright body and some basic tension in the core, then this becomes a really stable move. So here again, I'd invite you to try this one out. Go to a neutral position, feet parallel, knees slightly bent. From there, have the cross guard over your lead arm. Not perfectly straightforward, especially over the lead arm. Even Martijn is joining in. Excellent. Then grip with the other hand from the other side, creating this triangle instead of having your wrists behind it and the elbows flaring out. We don't want the elbows flaring out, but approaching the blade in a straight line from the shoulder. From here, pull the elbows back alongside the upper body, bring the right hand closer to the sternum. From there, extend forward, keeping the cross guard over the forearm. While doing so, try to increase speed a little bit without pushing yourself back out of balance. Try to stay balanced and just move the blade backwards and forwards. Once you've got this isolated rowing motion, we can now change the angle slightly. So we can row downwards into lower hanging or into a higher position, somewhere above chest height, either waist height or chest height. And once we figured out that this can be done with some consistency, we can try to cross the hands in the starting position. From here, row straight forward or downwards, upwards, change the lower hanging and the upper hanging. Basically, what we're doing is moving to either lower hanging or upper hanging, some form in the middle, without actively changing dimensions with the upper body. So if we would combine these, then this gives us the capability to move to whatever position we want to go, again, with a high grade of consistency. So if I were to, from this neutral position, step back with the left foot, go to lower hanging, then all it takes is step, body rotation, arm extension. And I can always end up with the edge towards the opponent. If you find yourself with the edge being pulled away from the opponent, this might be you are rotating around your body. I want to show you the way to not do that, to not rotate around the body, but to extend from it and retract towards it, to gather again. From here, step backwards with the left foot, rotate your upper body, gather, extend. See if you can row to that particular point in space with the edge towards the opponent, instead of rolling towards yourself and ending up sideways. Then go back to neutral, step back with the right foot, and try the crossed arms version. Rotate the upper body, extend to lower hanging. Again, keeping the edge between you and the opponent. All right. This is the easy bit. Going to upper hanging is always the more challenging version. So this is our next step. From here, keep the sword gathered, step back with the left foot, rotate upwards, and extend. The last bit of moving to upper hanging is extend away from the upper body. And this again can be done on one side and on the other. So keep the arms crossed, step back with the right foot, rotate your upper body, hinge upwards, extend, gather, and extend. So moving from one position to a specific hanging position only requires that you move your body to this 45-degree angle and extend your arms. The key is in the transition to gather in between. If I would move from one position to the next, then there's a really functional way of gathering, rotating, and extending again. Although this looks like taking a detour, actually moving from one side to the other by gathering, rotating, extending again allows my blade to travel in a straight line, rather than keeping the arms extended, rotating, and shifting it all the way across the body. Because if the arms would stay extended, it would become a wide circle and the energy would go sideways rather than towards me and then again interrupting the opponent. So if you want to change positions and always end up safe again, from here, gather, rotate, extend. Gather, rotate, extend. No matter where you go, gather, rotate, and extend. You'll always end up in this nice, solid position. So what we can do with this is figure out if we want to have the strong in front of us or the point in front. If we're going to wind and use this as a thrusting action, as a thread that provides the point in a place between me and the opponent, I can go to a lower hanging with the point being online. Most strikes actually will take the strong between me and the opponent before the point comes online. Because if I would make a strike and throw the point online immediately, there's not much strike left if it actually hits the opponent. Therefore, we can divide actions into a strike as its main purpose of bringing the strong online between me and the opponent. A thrust is an action that brings the point online between me and the opponent. And with this, we can have a simple exercise that allows us to explore these particular angles and options. Because if we have a clear point of reference where we want to go every single time, there again, this ups the consistency of our movements. So please play along with me. Have your sword close to you, gathered, shoulders nice and tucked in, core nice and tense. From here, bend your knees slightly, keep the feet parallel, both of them towards the front. Step back, lower left, point online. And go back to neutral. From here, lower right, strong in front. Rather than extending all the way and bringing the point out in front, I can keep the strong out here, which is a slightly different position. Go back to neutral. Left side, upper hanging, strong in front. Try to go there in one go. Go back to neutral. Right side, upper hanging, point in front. And back to neutral. Right side, lower hanging, point in front. And back to neutral. Left side, upper hanging, strong in front. As long as the strong is between me and the opponent, covering these vital organs, the action has fulfilled its job. It is successful enough. And from this, we can always bring the point online later. So this would provide safety and then work towards creating a threat. Working from this neutral position is easier because it allows us to focus on the last bit of the transition. The rowing and extending of the arms is one of the most difficult components in these actions. So if you find it troubling to keep a solid way of moving with this particular one, then an exercise to play around with that is hold your sword at the very end to create weight suspended from the lower arm, and particularly row point of your elbow downwards, rotate it downwards. And in this way, you can now keep your body upright and stable, row alongside your lats. This one, straightforward with your lead hand, is quite doable. Now, if you start to rotate, this might lead to the elbow hiding behind the body, bringing the point of line. What we want to do is be able to rotate and pull the sword backwards in a straight line. So start off neutral, row backwards, row forwards, isolating the movement, and then add the body rotation along the spine. Try to see if you can keep the blade on line, even if you are all the way to this 45-degree angle. Now rotate all the way forwards. Try to see if you can keep the row in the same line. Now make it a bit harder by adding the rotation to the particular movement. So move forward, move backwards, keep rowing all the time. Mess it up, make mistakes, but check how far your point goes offline once you move the upper body. Try to keep it as straight as possible. Once this hand gets tired, switch hands, suspend it from the forearm, rotate the elbow downwards, row back, row forward. See how solidly you can move this. If you have body straight, slightly rotated, or rotating mid-movement. As you can see, the consistency with my left hand is far less good than it is with the right hand. So you can now figure out what the effect is of one of these hands on the total movement. To address this particular issue of creating a solid position with striking as well, another thing you can try is to move along the same line with either hand movement or body movement. So if I would be in some form of lower hanging, then extending my right hand would move the tip from well above the opponent and well above me to between us to end of the strike. And simply rowing back and forth with one arm should move the blade along the same line. If I'm able to do this in a slow, consistent fashion, it means I'm not using the speed in a strike to stabilize the blade. It means I'm using the correct body tension and muscle coordination to do so. In order to practice this, start neutral, step back with one foot, go to lower hanging with the tip well above you, and then see what happens if you bend your lead arm and extend it. See if you can manage to find the same path with the body rotation consistent. Then you can add a bit of body rotation. Keep the right arm extended. Now simply rotate the upper body and go back. If the hands remain in front of the sternum, the blade should still travel along the same lines. And if we add those actions together, then body rotation plus arm flexion and extension should lead to a strike-like motion along this same line, happening on both sides. Even with cross arms, we can use just the arm to move along this line. We can isolate the body movement to move along this line. Or combine both, bend the arm, and rotate the body to give you a sideways view from here. You can go to this 45-degree angle, and then play along to figure out a consistent line of striking. See what happens if you rotate the upper body without moving the arms as much. Add everything together to see if you can create this strike-like motion along the same line. This creates a sort of skinny axe that I use for Oberhau and Unterhau, or moving towards lower hanging or upper hanging. Because if those lines are the same, it doesn't really matter if I'm moving towards strike or thrust. All I need to coordinate, all I need to order my body to do is rotate and extend to a certain position. And I can figure out along the way if I'm actually striking or thrusting. It doesn't really matter. As long as the strong travels in front of me, it keeps me safe and then provides me with the opportunity to create a threat. So in order to check this out, we can again go to this neutral position, and from here step either backwards or forwards and slowly extend into lower or upper hanging. If we move into lower left hanging, bring the strong out in front, it's quite close to the last bit of the strike. If we now rotate a little bit more, move the hands, we can bring out the point in front. Go back to neutral, move to right lower hanging with strong in front, which is pretty close to last bit of left-sided overhand. Go back to neutral. From here, go to right side upper hanging, strong in front. And there we have left-sided Unterhau. If we continue and extend the arms a bit, there's overhanging, just a wind. Now try to, without going back to neutral, switch to lower hanging on the right side. My idea here would be to first gather, then extend again, rather than dropping straight down. Because dropping straight down would be causing the energy to go downwards instead of towards the opponent again. As long as the strong stays between me and the opponent, it doesn't matter if the tip goes offline or not. Because at the very end, my body will always be in roughly the same position, and I know that the point will go back online. So as long as I have this point of reference and this one, I can create a consistent transition rather than the swiftest possible. So just think about this. Think about investing in a basic tension and investing in this gathering and extending when switching from side to side. Moving to an upper hanging, crossed arms is the slightly more difficult one. Open arms, slightly easier one. From here, try to remain upright, row backwards, move to lower hanging. Arms out in front, long edge towards the opponent. From here, row back, move to upper hanging. Strong in front of you. Row back, move to lower hanging. And once you've managed to do this fairly consistently, you can again add a little bit of chaos to the mix and make it more difficult by, for instance, stepping backwards and forwards. So maintain an upright stance, start off neutral, backwards, lower the knees, extend the arms. Now we're in crossed hands, lower hanging. From here, just step forwards, step backwards. Maintain this position as perfectly as possible. Then add your transition. So somewhere in the stepping, move to the upper hanging, to the lower hanging again. Bringing the strong and then the point in front of you. Once this works out, we can change the pattern and move from position to position, regardless of the stepping. So I can switch positions, and in the meantime, step. Now this becomes more chaotic. The point will probably drift off more and more. As long as I can create this somewhat consistently, the end result will be that I'm not falling over. I'm not spending time on regaining my balance or figuring out where my hands specifically want to be. So the question I would like to throw towards you is, how well do you know the points of reference that you have for strong in front or point in front? The particular positions that your blade passes through when striking or winding to one of the four hangings. If you know them well, and you know how to train in isolation the movements that you need for those to happen, I think this would improve your game tremendously. It will help you to move better, figure out how your body works, and do what it takes to always go to that position, cover your head, and outlast the other person in a fight. All right. So this was my little workshop. I hope you were able to either follow along or have a great lunch. If there are any questions, then I'll try to answer them now, and we can actually stick to schedule.
Yes.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you, Arto. We definitely have some questions. First of all, I apologize for suddenly disappearing, but my computer crashed on me. So that was not really the introduction that I had in mind for you. But it was actually well, keeps things exciting. Luckily, I was able to get back up and running. Very interesting, and something that I definitely struggle with sometimes to make my movements as to keep them as efficient as possible. And does how you do it? Could I do it in the same way, or maybe I'm built in a different way? Maybe someone is more slim or more chubby. The core is perhaps a little different, or doesn't that really?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah,
it matters. I have found out that this frame of reference, this approach, works for, as far as I figured out, everyone I've encountered or taught so far. It doesn't mean that you should move as I do, but if you ask the same questions, where is the position in lower left hanging that covers me, provides me with a strong structure, and allows me to fight with the entire body? And how do I get to know it well so I can always go to that particular spot? That is helpful. And for you, that might be slightly further forward or sideways or a little bit further backwards. It depends on arm length, upper body structure. If you have a slight curvature in your spine, it might be different. So no, it's not always going to be exactly a copy of me. Please don't do that.
Right.
Make sure that you train to what your body does.
And is there a way to know, besides perhaps pain or discomfort, when you're doing it right, or perhaps when you're doing it wrong?
That's another good question. Here again, there are some references, some visual references or physical references that will give you at least some indication of doing it right or wrong. Here again, this is my approach. This is not the plain truth. So far it has worked, therefore I'm running with it. The thing that helps is figuring out if the long edge, or in thumb grip flat, is actually towards the opponent, if this is actually interrupting the other person's action. So if I'm always pulling towards a lower hanging and I'm ending up over here, my edge is sideways and my energy is going that way, not towards the opponent. So simply having a bell or something would be excellent. Otherwise, take a water bottle, place it in front of you, and you can now have a point of reference and see if your blade is actually angled towards it or not. So if you can do that, you can figure out if you can consistently go there, interrupting the blade, or if you're sweeping across your body when making the transition. So that is a point of reference that helps. And again, if your body hurts, see an expert, see a physiotherapist, see a physician, check it out. Don't continue if it hurts. It might simply be that you're asking certain muscles to work that have been laying dormant or are less developed, because we're asking for different coordination. That's not the bad signal, but I can't figure out a way to just say, no, this pain is all right, go with it, this pain is bad. Because it might be a certain tightness, or it might be that by trying to pull your shoulders back, you're actually arching your lower back way too much, straining these lumbar vertebrae. So if this is happening, yes, the shoulders are back, the chest is out. Things are not going well. You should find a way to straighten out the lower back.
Right.
And an exercise that really helps for that is find a wall, place your heels against it, lean against it, try to pull your shoulder blades together and then figure out a way to get both your elbows and your hands towards it. And be able to move along this wall without losing contact.
Nice. Perhaps one last question is, this will definitely help to make you more technically proficient. How does it work for you in a fight or in a tournament, in a sparring match? Do you really notice like, hey, I'm faster, or I have more stamina this way? What are the big advantages for that?
Both. I both notice that I'm faster and have more stamina because it requires less energy to always do the same thing, and it requires less processing power to make the choice, because I'm not moving to a particular place to clash with the other person's sword. I'm moving to the place that keeps me safe and allow the reflex of my entire body to kick in to either go a bit lower and cover the hands, or rotate the body a bit more to stay safe, and basically allow the fight to happen. So the key to fighting more efficiently and feeling more relaxed during the fight is create this particular framework for yourself. Because if you can always strike to that position, then all I need to do is go left unterhau, and I can end up in that particular position, throwing the strong in front of me, staying safe. So it takes away a lot of stress during the fight. I don't have to adjust as much. All I need to do is know where I want to go and then put some faith into that particular system. That's why I've been field testing it in tournaments for the last couple of years to figure out if it works, and if something didn't work, to adapt it to make it work.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think that's a wrap. Thank you very much for this very interesting class. And now it's up to us to keep practicing. Thank you.
Absolutely. So everyone, please stay safe and enjoy your time.
Thanks.